When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line.
I can taste triumph with the heart of a lion.
When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terraborn Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And we are always glad to get some updates there from Assumption Sheriff's Office as we talk to Commander Lonnie Cavalier. Lonnie, thanks for joining us. I know we got a lot to go over today. We'll let you get started.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate you. The first one we have is a Brad Joseph Adams, 36 of 716 Manchester Manor, Thibodeau, Louisiana, was arrested on felony charges arising from a traffic stop on LA 308 near Pankerville. A uniformed patrol deputy assigned to the ICE detail observed the vehicle committed a traffic violation and initiated a stop of that vehicle. The deputy made contact with the driver, now identified as Brad Joseph Adams, and engaged Adams into an officer violator interview. And at the conclusion of that interview, the deputy believed that additional investigation was warranted. The deputy requested consent to search the suspect vehicle, which was granted. During the search process, the deputy located multiple doses of Suboxone, as well as an open container of an alcoholic beverage. Brad Joseph Adams was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of Suboxone, possession of alcoholic beverages in a motor vehicle. He was released after posting a $25,000 commercial bond.
All right, now, Mr. Ashton Carey Ainsworth.
Ashton Carey Ainsworth, age 34 of 2559, Highway 308, Labradorville, was arrested on felony battery charges arising from an incident at a local wholesale retail alcohol beverage outlet. Deputies were dispatched to the establishment in reference to a fight. On arrival, deputies made contact with the complainants, who advised that Ashton Carey Ainsworth had engaged in a fistic encounter and at some point began swinging a large bedpost, striking the victim. Ainsworth was still on scene as deputies investigated. At the conclusion of that investigation, Ashton Carey Ainsworth was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon and detainer from probation and parole for a probation violation. Ashton Carey Ainsworth remains incarcerated with bond set at $10,000 on the felony battery charge, and he was ordered held without bond on the probation parole violation.
We appreciate that. Now, this next one's got a traffic stop that's also with aggravated flight, two individuals, Fernandez and Rome.
Yes, Vontrell Larry Fernandez, 39 of 11391 Windsor Avenue, Denham Springs, Louisiana, and Alvin Joseph Rome, 41 of 353 Hood Street, Donaldsonville, Louisiana, were arrested on felony charges arising from an incident near Belrose. A uniformed patrol deputy, again, this is our ICE unit, observed a northbound vehicle on LE1 traveling at a high rate of speed and attempted a stop of that vehicle. The suspect engaged the deputy in a pursuit situation, continuing northbound into Ascension Parish. The deputy was able to terminate the pursuit without incident. The deputy made contact with two occupants, namely the driver, Vontrell Larry Fernandez, and the passenger, Alvin Joseph Rome. The deputy was able to safely secure Rome, but Vontrell Larry Fernandez resisted efforts to be taken into custody. At some point, the deputy was able to arrest Fernandez. The investigating deputy conducted a walk-around of the suspect vehicle and did observe a handgun on the floorboard of the passenger capsule. It was determined that Alvin Joseph Rome was convicted of domestic abuse battery and therefore could not legally possess a firearm. Vontrell Larry Fernandez and Alvin Joseph Rome were booked into the Ascension Parish Jail as fugitives from Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office. Vontrell Fernandez and Alvin Joseph Rome were transferred to the custody of the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office and booked into the Parish Detention Center on charges as follows. As to Vontrell Larry Fernandez, aggravated flight from an officer, resisting an officer with force or violence, and speeding and careless operation of a motor vehicle. Alvin Joseph Rome was booked on charges of illegal possession of firearm by a person convicted of domestic abuse battery and resisting an officer. Vontrell Fernandez has posted a $50,000 commercial bond, and Alvin Joseph Rome posted a $35,000 commercial bond.
Wow. And our last one, Miss Raquel DeLon Barber.
It's Raquel DeLon Barber, 49 of 2327 Clement Street, Morgan City, Louisiana, which is in Assumption Parish, on felony. She was arrested on felony drug charges arising from a traffic stop near Highway 662 and US 90 in Amelia. A uniformed patrol deputy observed the vehicle committed a traffic violation and initiated a stop of that vehicle, making contact with the driver now identified as Markel Deron Singleton. The deputy noted equipment violations by the driver as well as one front seat passenger. The deputy noticed a rear seat passenger moving back and forth swiftly and not complying with the deputy's commands. At some point, the deputy removed the rear seat passenger, now identified as Raquel DeLon Barber. Due to the occupant actions, deputies believed further investigation was warranted. Consent to search was obtained from all parties, and as a result of that search, quantities of methamphetamine, multiple doses of tramadol, and oxycodone were seized and attributed to Raquel DeLane Barber. Deputies arrested Raquel DeLane Barber and booked her into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession with intent to distribute oxymorphone, which is also Pano, possession with intent to distribute oxycodone, possession of methamphetamine, obstruction of justice. Raquel DeLon Barber remains incarcerated with her bond set at $100,000. The driver, Markel Deron Singleton, 24-306 Levy Road, Morgan City, was cited for the initial violations of no seatbelt, turning movement, and required signals. He was released with the court date. The third occupant, Elliot D. Broussard, 61 of 108 Texas Street, Lafayette, was cited for no seatbelt and released with a court date.
Well, Commander, we appreciate all of the updates very, very much. That's a lot to go over. We thank you for your time and what everybody's doing to keep these people off the streets. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. A lot more right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.